Good afternoon, everyone. This is Antolin Yerva, and the topic we are going to discuss is about qualities, characteristics desired in an assessment instrument. But before that, let's find out what assessment instrument is. So, what is assessment instrument? An assessment instrument is part of the assessment tool. The assessment instrument is the documented activities developed to support the assessment method and used to collect the evidence of student competence. An assessment instrument could include oral and written question, observation, demonstration, and checklist. So, the assessment instrument is the documented activities developed to support the assessment method and used to collect the evidence of student competence. So, it is used to measure a student's academic abilities, skills, and fluency in a given subject or measure one's progress toward academic proficiency in a specific subject area. So, different authors have different concepts and views about assessment instruments. However, they may come to agree on the following concepts. So, categories of assessment instrument may be viewed in 4 different ways. We have number 1, by mode, by construction, by stage and coverage, and by value judgment. So first, let us talk about by mode. So this category of instrument is based on the method or manner of assessing the student learning. This mode may be subcategorized into traditional or conventional and authentic. So number 1 is conventional. This is the most pervasive category and is mostly done in the paper pencil test, where the learners have a very limited freedom in responding the questions or problems. The responses are dependent on the given options by the teachers or limited to the given parameters. So next is the authentic. So this assessment allows much freedom to learners in making responses and employs the method beyond the paper pencil test to measure a variety of student learning outcomes, either individually or in a group. So this may include perceptions of the assessors on the behavioral and past performances of the learners based on the criteria set along each learning objective. Next is assessment by construction. So whatever it is the purpose of the assessment, the tools used are generally categorized into standardized and non-standardized. First is standardized. So this tool is prepared by highly technical and professional authors, and the items are prepared through a scientific process, setting the validity and reliability. So it requires a uniform procedure of administering and interpreting the results based on its well-established standards. And another one is the non-standardized. This tool is prepared by teachers or persons with sufficient background in constructing, administering, scoring, and interpreting assessment tools and results. This may also known as teacher-made instrument. So this tool may be exclusive of the organization or entity for a specific purpose, and the norm is setting according to clear, definite criteria. So the third one is by stage and coverage. The assessment can be categorized into diagnostic, formative, and summative. First is the diagnostic. So this is a preliminary phase of assessment, which purpose is to determine the present state of student learning. The data obtained from this stage serves as the springboard of the teachers in closing learning gaps and proceeding to a formative phase of learning. So next is the formative. So this assessment is done while the learners are still in process of learning within any length of time. This otherwise known as periodic assessment and covers only a segment of the entire course or content. And lastly is the summative. So this category of assessment is conducted after all the learning objective and task in a given period are finished. This covers the overall learning from the beginning to the end of the course. Next is by value judgment. The assessment under this category consists of norm reference, criterion reference, and ipsative or self-reference. First is the norm reference assessment. So this category focuses on comparing the performance of one learner to others. Second is the criterion reference assessment. So the central interest of this assessment is to determine how the learner achieves a set of criteria in a required performance. And last is ipsative assessment. So in this category of assessment, the learner determines how high or low his present performance to the previous in a similar or different forms of instrument use, but with the same purpose. So nothing that there are different assessment instruments that have similar purpose. This is otherwise known as self-reference assessment. So let's move on to the significance of assessment instrument use. Without regard to the category of assessment instrument prepared by the teachers, each instrument, either conventional and authentic, has its own unique significance in determining the learning of the students. Number one is the scoring rubrics. So this would help students focus on content. Number two is the instructional rubrics. This would guide them in developing presentations, written and oral reports. So next is concept maps. So this would assist students in seeing the big picture. Next is portfolios. So this would develop in the students the valuing of documents, so it will enhance learning and improving their metacognition ability. Then cooperative learning assessment. So this contains strategies that encourage peer-to-peer learning, individual and group grading. Number 6 is concept test. Like conceptual multiple choice question is useful in large classes. Next, knowledge survey. So this helps teachers in determining whether or not the students could answer a survey, of course, content questions. Next is exam. So exam helps find tips on how to make exams better assessment instruments. Next is oral presentation. So this helps provide tips for evaluating student presentations. Number 10 is peer review. So this would allow students assess themselves and each other. Next is written reports. So this would increase tips for assessing the initiative and creativity in preparing and delivering written reports. Lastly, other assessment type. So this would be display of learning portfolios including concept sketches, case studies, seminar-style courses, mathematical thinking, and performance assessment. So those are assessment instrument, and this discussion will be continued by Mr. John Kenneth Alvarez, and I hope you have learned something. Thank you.